Okay, welcome to Positivity is the Way to Go. She is a matchmaker, dating expert with over 10 years experience and the co-founder of Introductions Inc., a private matchmaking service. Welcome my guest today, Alexandra Freeman. How's it going? How was your Easter weekend?
It was so lovely. I'm traveling internationally right now. So I'm in a country that really celebrates Easter. And so it's a whole different experience than anything you might find in Chicago.
What food have you ate down there that you didn't eat before?
Yeah, so I'm in Tbilisi, Georgia. They have a strong bread culture. They have a dish called khachapuri, which has been quite famous on TikTok, actually. It's like a little boat of bread with cheese and an egg yolk on top. That's the famous food from this area.
Okay, I don't travel much, I don't try I need to travel more, finances.
Yeah. I'm very blessed as a business owner to be able to travel for my job and for my personal life. So I know that, not everybody can do so. So I'm very humbly blessed by that.
Yep, so let's get started. What is your experience as a dating coach?
Yeah, so I have been in the dating industry, like you said, for over 10 years. I wasn't always doing what I'm doing now. I was offering business support and other services to other matchmakers. And one of those services was customer support. So helping people when they needed help with their profiles, with their dating life. And, some of that bled into coaching even way back then. Because unlike any other industry, dating is so personal, right? So somebody would come for help and they would tell you all their problems. So it really started all the way back then. And then over the years, I refined it even more and more, working one-on-one with my clients now and ways to help really manifest their love in a way that's going to work for them, build their confidence, and get them in the relationships that they want to be in.
Sounds good. That's why we have you on today, because it's gonna help people go from being single to being married, hopefully, with your success stories. Do you have any success stories or case studies that you could share with us, like from the website and what's been going on?
Yeah, so I don't usually have a lot of like success stories for relationships, like people who got married, because it's rather a private service. Not everybody wants to share their private business. However, I have a lot of people who I've done personal work with who have really enjoyed the process. For example, I recently worked with a lovely 70-year-old woman. And she came to me because she needed a little help with online dating. She wasn't quite ready to work with a matchmaker, but she wanted some help just with like the parts of it. So we sat down, we looked at her profile, we went over her photos, I helped her write her little biography, and then I gave her some real advice about like how to maintain boundaries when you're online dating and coming back to dating at such an age can be a real hard transition. So those are the success stories that really stick with me, is especially people who are a little bit vulnerable and maybe don't have the same resources that me and you might have as young people who are used to being on the internet and used to having those interactions and being to help those people and being able to help those people find their path.
Well, I would say that's a great success story. It's good to see that you helping older people out. They need love too.
Yeah, they do. And you know what? We actually have, I have a wide range of clients. So my youngest is 26, my oldest is 74. But I really have a soft spot for my older clients because it must be so hard to date nowadays when everything is online. When, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was such a different landscape, and it's like having to relearn how to date all over again.
Well, this is stat that you need to know. 52% of teenagers do online dating now. So
Mhm.
basically, 1 out of 10 teenagers are going online to meet somebody. They don't want to meet nobody at school. And the thing is, you know what I don't like about these online dating sites is they charge too much money and stuff. I think
Yeah.
they need to lower the price because a lot of people are not financially stable, and a lot of people don't have the money to meet people and stuff. So they need to they need to scale back with these memberships. I know they're trying to get revenue, income, that's important, but they should make it easier, like maybe get somebody 1 month or half off, try to make it easier for people because people are making a check to check in America. Not
Yeah.
everybody is an NFL or NBA superstar making millions of dollars.
Yeah, definitely. And something interesting about dating apps is they're actually on a downswing right now. They're less popular than they have been in the entire recent past. So, for example, 38% of Gen Z on dating apps right now. Just recently, a study came out saying that they were not interested in long-term dating or relationships at all because people are feeling very despondent. They're not very encouraged. They feel like they're not getting anywhere, especially with dating apps, um, because it's not an effective way to date, really. And we've lost a lot of this in-person connection that we used to have before dating apps.
Well, if we don't have like matchmaking services, we won't have you, Alexandra. So, in some ways, it's pros and cons. You would
Yeah.
be out of business if we didn't have if we had issues with and we went in person. You would be having a lot of big problems for your business. You
Well,
wouldn't have no clients at all.
you'd be surprised. Some people, a lot of my clients, matchmaking can be quite expensive. It is kind of a concierge service. I do offer cheaper services as well. But people who usually hire a matchmaker do it because they have very busy jobs or they travel a lot or there's some other thing holding them back from being able to do those in-person events or online dating on their own. So thankfully, I'm pretty stable, but I really encourage, especially young people. I know that it kind of makes me sound like a boomer. I'm sorry, but try to get out there in the real world. Try to meet people in person. Pick up a hobby, go do something. I know I sound so old. Get off my lawn. But I really truly believe that that's a strong path towards getting into a successful relationship.
How old are you, Alexandra, if I
I'm,
may ask?
yeah, I'm 32.
Oh, okay, you around my age. We can hang out sometime when you in Chicago when you get
Yeah,
off your world tour of dating expert stuff. You global,
absolutely.
you nationwide.
For sure. We'll definitely have to connect when I'm in town next.
Yeah, you gonna buy food. You gonna we gonna go out to go get some lunch maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully the
We'll
weather nice
definitely,
because it's cold right now.
yeah, maybe when it's warmer. But
Yeah.
yeah, did you have any other questions about dating,
Well, of
love?
course. Of course. I got more questions. What specific areas of dating coaching do you specialize in?
Right. So, like I said, I tend to specialize in people who have limitations on dating for whatever reason. So, people who are older, maybe they're getting back into dating after a long time. But I also do work with people who are younger, who have very little experience with dating. Maybe they have some anxiety or some awkwardness or some confidence building that needs to be done. So, there's all sorts of barriers to love that I can help with. It just depends on a case by case basis who I work with and who I don't. But I try to be as inclusive as I possibly can be.
Well said. Well said. How do you help with self-improvement in their relationships?
Right. So the very first thing that we have to do when we're looking to improve our dating life or even just improve our life overall is to sit down and self-evaluate. And you have to be radically honest with yourself about what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. And you have to try your absolute best to not let your own biases color your impressions. So, for example, I have problems. Everybody has problems. One of my problems is I'm very anxious. I'm a very anxious person. I have to plan everything 50 days in advance. Everything needs to be exactly how, otherwise I can't handle it. So that is a flaw that I notice in myself, and I work very hard to improve on it every single day. So when we take that to a dating aspect, what we do is we sit down and we talk over all your previous dating experiences, what went right, what went wrong, and what aspect is common that we need to improve on.
Well said. That's why I think you are very patient. I don't know you like that yet, but I think you patient and stuff. I think you cool, Alexandra, you know.
Thank you.
What was your motivation to help single people find love? Like, why did you want to do this? You know, because a lot of people don't want to take on this challenge of meet putting people together. You know, because sometimes people don't match. You know, you never know what may happen. It may blow up in your face. You know.
Absolutely. You know, I always knew from a young age that I wanted to do something to help people. I come from a family, my mother is a social worker, my father worked for the government. So we were always seeing people with different things in their life that were holding them back and how we could do things to implement change in their life. I learned a lot from my mother about that. She's one of my heroes. And so I always knew I wanted to do something along those lines, but I didn't want to do what she was doing, which was social work. And I didn't know what I was going to do at all. And then, right as I was graduating, I met my mentor and my current business partner. And he said, I have a job for you. Here you go. We're going to do matchmaking. And I said, what's matchmaking? I have no idea. And he completely mentored me into the industry. And I was in love with the business because I was like, I get to help people. I get to learn. I get to grow. I get to experience little bits of all these people's lives and do whatever I can to make them better. And that was it for me. I was in.
I would say, yeah, that's good. You know, it's like putting a stack of papers on your desk and like, go ahead, do this work. You know, you could do it, even though you may not, know you may not be trained to do it. You know, and I got, what do you think about the spirituality side of it? Because I believe, because I assume you're a believer and I'm a believer as well. What do you think about like the Christian side of things on your dating?
Yeah, so religion is such a hot topic because I have to be open to whoever wants to come to me for help. So that means I have to understand all of the different values of people that are reaching out to me, whether that's Christian, whether that's Hindu, whether that's Muslim. Everybody needs to be served towards love, right? So that's my job. But I think that it is really, a holy task to be able to provide love to people. And I think that no matter who you are and what your religion is and what your background is, everybody deserves to be in a relationship that serves them with a partner that brings out the best in them.
I say, well said, Alexander. It was a pleasure having you on today. You know, hopefully we can meet up and do an in-person interview. You know, that'd be great. You know, that way we can meet each other. But I'll say it was an honor, like me, you on Matchmaker. That's how we met and stuff on Matchmaker. You know, but I reached out to you. You didn't message me. You know,
Oh, did I
so
miss you? I'm so sorry.
yeah,
You know what?
I had to go. I had to go on your social, like you know, some
Oh,
people. Yeah,
you know
that
what?
some people say that
I've been
stalkerism
so,
and stuff, you know, and
I've
that's
been
how I
so
was able to
busy.
contact you.
I've been so busy the last couple months and I keep forgetting to check my inbox. So I wasn't ignoring you on purpose, I swear. I'm sorry. I should check that right away. But yeah, I'm so glad we got to talk and I will definitely reach out next time I'm in town.
Yeah, because I'm like, Alexander must not want to talk to me. What did I
No,
do?
it's not you. It's not you. I'm just busy.
Okay, because I'm like, I ain't gonna never have one, you know. And you were from Chicago, so like, I gotta have one, you know. She got
I'm not,
Chicago ties, you know.
I will say I'm not from Chicago. I'm from Canada.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Vancouver. So,
And
but
oh, so you a Oilers fan? You a Oilers fan or Canadians or Leafs?
I was never much into it. My family's a Leafs family, but I was not a sports person.
Oh, you wasn't, so you didn't watch hockey at all?
No, I was a nerdy little goth girl. I was always in my books. So
Well, it was great having you on, and you have a good day.
you too. I'll let you go now. Have a wonderful day.